Hello, chaps. I was just on GB News and I was invited on to talk about Donald Trump's visit to bonny old Scotland. Before I show you that video, I wanted to contextualize the discussion a little bit. Donald Trump is the 47th president of the United States. He's come to Scotland, and it's not a question of whether we like him or not. My own views are rather well known. He's not someone that I would entertain in the woodshed, never mind the living room. But it's not about me, and it's not about whether or not I or anyone else likes Donald Trump. It's about the fact that with the wave of a Sharpie pen, this man, who's the leader of the most powerful country in the world, could either harm or help our country. In the interview, I talk about some examples with the screen industry and with the whiskey industry, where Donald Trump can either make or break tens of thousands of jobs and billions of pounds of Scottish wealth. So that's the context of this interview. It's about how we should approach the president of America visiting our country. In the video, I talk about the Secretary of State for Scotland, Labour's Ian Murray. 2019, he voted to oppose Donald Trump coming to the UK. As Secretary of State of Scotland, he's putting his best foot forward and is shaking Trump's hand and doing his bit. Some might call that hypocrisy. I call that political maturity. It's the burden of office. It's called having to be a statesman. It's not about you. It's about the national interest. I would argue in the interview, as I'll show you in a minute, that the SNP leadership, John Swinney, with his call to do Scotland proud and protest, is hardly the message that we need when so many jobs and so much wealth in our country is on the line. So anyway, that's the context. With no further ado, I will let you watch the interview and make of it what you will.
Hello, welcome back to the weekend with me, Dawn Neeson. Thank you so much for your company. Now, have we got a cracking, fruity even, final half hour for you? But first, let's go back to the Trump in Scotland. Yes, the Donald is in Scotland. Now, there are a few protests going on. They've been planned in Aberdeen and Edinburgh, but also lots of people welcoming Donald Trump. I mean, protesters have been calling on First Minister John Swinney not to meet with the US president, expressing anger at what they termed the president's increasingly extreme policies. So joining me now is writer at Think Scotland, Dean Thompson. Dean, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you. Now, we've seen a small protest. It didn't seem to be huge amounts of people. We've also seen people welcoming Donald Trump. Surely it has to be a good thing for Scotland.
Well, certainly. If you think about the national interest, the 47th president of the United States, with the wave of a Sharpie pen, could make or break key Scottish industries. We're talking about, what, £1 billion of Scottish whisky exports go to the United States alone. In terms of the Hollywood and films and the screen industry, you're talking £627 million and almost 11,000 jobs. The economic relationship between the United States and Scotland is essential, and it requires statesmanship from the First Minister of Scotland. He should meet with Donald Trump and he should smile and shake his hand, because he should not be playing to the peanut gallery when jobs and business and economic welfare of the country is on the line. It's statesmanship, it's leadership. You have to meet the leaders.
As I say, Dean, it would be the ultimate insult, wouldn't it, if John Swinney, who obviously has no great affection politically for Donald Trump, didn't meet him or didn't have any engagement with him at all?
Well, if you want to be the First Minister of Scotland, if you want to be a leader, and we all know the Scottish Government, the SNP, like to go beyond the limits of devolution and talk about and then play around with international affairs, then they have to actually accept the burden of that. And that means you have to show statesmanship. You have to smile and be diplomatic and work with people from whichever country in which strategic relationship that is essential for Scotland. It's not about whether John Swinney likes President Trump personally or not. It's about what's the most important priorities for Scotland and more generally the United Kingdom. It's very important that this goes well, and I think we've seen this with the Scotland Secretary, Ian Murray, the UK government. 2019, he voted in Parliament as a backbencher to stop Trump coming to visit. Now as Secretary of State of Scotland, he's up and he's smiling and he's doing his bit to welcome the President because he's realised that maturity comes with the burden of high office.
Exactly, no, it really does. And we just watched one of the small protests there, and I could see at least 3 Palestinian flags, and I don't think I saw any Scottish flags whatsoever. What do you make of this?
I think the Viva Palestina sort of thing is a bit like the younger generation's version of the Che Guevara T-shirt. I don't think a lot of thought goes into it. After all, if there was a bit more thought, people would remember that Israel was attacked by a militant,
Of course.
maybe burning, throat-chopping terrorist organization and are fighting a defensive war. The idea that the burden and onus is on Israel to end a conflict that they did not start is just not true. Maybe if Hamas laid down the weapons and freed the hostages and stopped hiding behind their own people, we could finally have peace.
Yeah, OK. Thank you very much for joining us. That's Dean Thompson, who is a writer at Think Scotland, about the warmth, I think, in general, there is for Donald Trump and this visit. Donald Trump loves Scotland. You know, his mum is from Scotland. And surely it has to be a good thing for trade and for industry and for tourism, all of those things.